Are the fandoms you love about to be rocked by Mr. Plankton and the Trunk? Not exactly the kind of exposure they were hoping for. These two have been creating waves like never before in recent days. Some recent occurrences have fans excited, even angry, because they are upending their expectations. Stay tuned because you might be surprised by what's been happening, and you'll see why everyone is so furious by the end of this video. First, in case you haven't heard the recent craze, let's quickly recap who Mr. Plankton and the Trunk are. For those who know Mr. Plankton, he is one of the more recognizable figures and is frequently portrayed as a cunning, humorous antagonist. For a long time, he has been a mainstay in his particular environment. However, the Trunk has a devoted fan base thanks to its distinctive qualities and eccentric personality, even though it may not be as well known to everyone. However, both individuals have recently been the focus of much more attention than they could have imagined. Fandoms, as you are aware, can be really intense. These characters emotionally resonate with people, and any change in how they are portrayed, behave, or grow can elicit intense feelings. When anything seems strange, fans are ready to express their thoughts since they take their favorite characters seriously. Let's go on to the event that caused the outcry. A recent plot point, incident, or development that fans didn't fully anticipate was the catalyst for it all. This development upset viewers, whether it was because of a change in the character's motivations, a contentious choice made by the studio, or something else entirely. Many fans expressed surprise at the way Mr. Plankton's persona was portrayed in the most current material. His actions were perceived by many as being at odds with his earlier portrayals. Longtime fans of Mr. Plankton were upset by the abrupt change in his attitude and the lack of nuance. This was more than a minor setback. To many devoted fans, it seemed like a betrayal. The story was just as contentious in the Trunk. Fans were outspoken over everything from the character's treatment in the most recent episode to the modifications made to the original idea. There was a great deal of unrest when the Trunk strayed from what its fans enjoyed most, because they had developed a close link with it. Backlash is unavoidable when a character does something that seems inappropriate or alienates fans, as one might anticipate. The online community isn't afraid to express their views, and social media has only made it simpler for followers to do so. Disappointment and even rage about the recent changes were expressed in thousands of postings, comments, and videos. There were intense discussions regarding the character's actions and portrayals on Twitter when some fans took to the platform. Some wrote Reddit threads analyzing every second and questioning how the authors could have made such audacious choices. For many, it was more than simply the particular content. It was the sense that the character's integrity was being jeopardized. Many fans felt alienated since they had devoted time, emotion, and energy to Mr. Plankton and the Trunk, and they were taking a completely different turn without any justification or growth. Some devoted fans even expressed that they no longer had the same connection to the characters they had grown to adore in the most recent tales. It seemed as like the authors were making an excessive effort to create shock value without taking into account the audience's emotional connection, instead forcing something on them. How have people in the background responded, then? Have the teams or creators of these characters responded to the outcry with any statements? Basically, both yes and no. In response to criticism, some designers have clarified the rationale for the most recent modifications. Reactions to these explanations have been conflicting, nevertheless. While some fans are relieved, others remain dubious because they think the adjustments were exaggerated or too abrupt. It's interesting to see that the discussion has also included the creator's response to criticism. According to several fans, the answers were contemptuous or did not fully comprehend the annoyance. Others said that fans were still unable to completely understand the changes, which were merely a part of a broader creative vision. It's a difficult scenario for all parties involved. Too much backtracking could suggest that they've erred, while sticking to their guns could turn off the very audience that made them successful. What does all of this leave us with? Will fans ever perceive Mr. Plankton and the Trunk as being the same? Can they win again the faith of their devoted followers? That remains to be determined. Pop culture, as we know, is always changing, and stories and characters frequently undergo significant changes. A controversial change can sometimes result in progress, and other times it might cause one to lose favor. It all comes down to whether or not the producers pay attention to their audience and how they react in the future. The characters may be able to recover more powerfully than before if they consider the fans' concerns and make the necessary changes. But if they decide to disregard the criticism, they run the risk of permanently losing their following. Despite their extreme loyalty, fans aren't hesitant to express their displeasure when things don't work out as planned. So, what are we supposed to learn from this? While it's tempting to get caught up in the excitement of fandoms, it's also vital to keep in mind that these characters hold great significance for their supporters. There may be a difficult path ahead for Mr. Plankton and the Trunk, but redemption is still possible if their creators respond appropriately. It will only be shown in time if these figures will survive in the hearts of their formerly devoted supporters, or if they can recover from the verge of indignation. If you liked this analysis, please remember to subscribe and use the like button for more posts like this one.